origin of life from non-living material, otherwise known as abiogenesis, which has actually been proven wrong for over 200 years. Spontaneous generation is impossible, and there's no way to get life from non-living material. Number 5. Macroevolution, changing from one kind of animal to another. Of course, also unobserved. We've never seen a monkey give birth to a human. We've never seen a dog give birth to anything but a dog. A banana has never created anything but a banana. Farmers rely on the fact that micro or macroevolution never happens. When they plant an apple, they expect to get an apple every time, and they do.
Okay, first of all, cosmic evolution and planetary and stellar evolution are part of the same thing, which is cosmic evolution, which is not really related to evolution as you're discussing it in this video. Cosmic evolution is just the study of how things change in the universe. It's not there's no theory of growing complexity. I mean, there might be particular theories, but there's definitely not a unified theory yet as to how the universe formed. I don't see any reason to address chemical evolution because you say nothing to refute it in the entire rest of the series. Organic evolution is not, that's not the proper definition for anything. What you're talking about is abiogenesis, which is not part of the field of evolution. Macroevolution, of course, you're talking about speciation here, and of course speciation is documented. You're never going to see anything like a horse give birth to a monkey or some shit like that, because, yeah, you're right, animals do only give birth to their own kind. The thing is that it's not that animals are going to suddenly give birth to an entirely new species, it's that through successive generations, hundreds upon hundreds of generations, animal species might vary significantly. We've done this ourselves with dogs. I mean, just like you can breed the aggressivity out of a certain breed of dog, or you can breed a dog to be taller, or fatter, or shorter. I mean, all dogs descend from domesticated wolves. You know, I have a Maltese. I mean, he looks nothing like a fucking wolf because he was bred to be small and cute and furry, so that the women in Malta could attract the fleas away from themselves, because back in those times, fleas were a major problem for people. And the different breeds of dog have not yet become entirely different species, but they look so vastly different now that you could see how, in a few hundred more generations, they might not be able to breed anymore.
Now, there is a 6th definition called microevolution, which is proven. What microevolution is variations within kinds. So you might get a Macintosh apple, and you might get a few different types of apples, but they're still apples.
So you think the genus is free to vary, but the species isn't? How does that make sense? I mean, that's like saying that we can drive a car for a mile, but we can't possibly drive at 100 miles. You can't possibly drive until you're in a new state. You can't possibly progress to the point where you're something entirely different. How can you say that small changes are possible over a small period of time, but large changes aren't possible over a large period of time? That makes no fucking sense. You don't even have to be a fucking scientist to figure this shit out.
Scientists have been breeding the world's fastest reproducing animal, the common housefly, for the jillionth generation. There are now so many it's uncountable, and they're breeding them consecutively, one after another, trying to see when the fly will eventually not be a fly, and they're still making flies after all these years.
Plenty of examples of a speciation where one kind of fly becomes another kind of fly that cannot breed with the kind of fly that it was before, or it splits into two different species of fly, neither of which can breed with another. I know you won't accept that as speciation, even though it technically is. I know you're looking for an example of a fly becoming a moth or something along those lines. The most obvious example I can think of that is us, and how human beings and chimpanzees share a common ancestor. And this has been proven to you by Rabbit Ape, and you refuse to believe the absolute airtight fucking proof, and also proven to you again by K-Bane, both of them using retroviral DNA to prove absolutely that that we did once share a common ancestor. You totally ignore this evidence. Also, our second chromosome being a combination of 2 earlier chromosomes, where you can clearly see where they fused. And Ken Miller discussed this. I'll link to that fucking video as well. And I'll link to Rabbit Ape's video, and I'll link to K-Bane's video, where it's been proven numerous times to you. Proven. I don't use the word "you were shown" like some pretty good evidence. Proven to you, beyond any fragment of a reasonable doubt, that human beings and chimpanzees share a common ancestor. And you've denied it. And even though I know you don't buy into it, I will cite, I'll link to some examples of speciation in fruit flies in those experiments. They didn't become some other creature entirely, but they became an entirely different kind of fly. One that couldn't breed with another kind of fly. That's a different species. And, it's foolish to think that just because we haven't observed a phenomena that we all say takes millions of years, in the short amount of time that we've had this unified theory of how life came about on Earth, it's a ludicrous standard to hold it to. But we can show it. We can show it with DNA evidence, which you conveniently just dismiss as bullshit, fuck you, I'm a Christian, I don't need it.
You have 2 choices. Either the Big Bang, this explosion from nothingness, was the beginning, or God was the beginning. There had to be something that always existed.
So our choices are a phenomena that requires almost no complexity whatsoever, or a complex consciousness right off the bat. Do you actually listen to these words as they come out of your mouth? Don't you think that the Big Bang, just a phenomenon that just, big ass fucking explosion out there in space, I mean, that's not really what it is, but for the sake of argument, or a all-powerful being is just there, just chilling out, just like you just imagine you're God, okay? You're just sitting there, and wow, I just exist. Fuck, I mean, there's nothing else here, but I'm here. I don't know. What am I supposed to do? Well, maybe I'll make like an Earth or something. There we go, there's an Earth. And I'll put some people on it, and some plants, and some animals. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a nice little... You know what? I'm going to give them a bunch of bullshit rules just to fuck with them, because I don't really like them that much. That makes sense to you. Really, genuinely makes sense to you.
Stop my road. I'll pray to die in the